So I was sitting here today and I saw something on Twitter and it reminded me that Samsung is supposed to be making a gigantic 14.6-inch tablet, the Tab S8 Ultra. So based off the rumors, and I don't usually like to live and operate in this rumored space, but it seems to be pretty well confirmed at this point by many sources, the Tab S8 Ultra is going to be 14.6 inches. And you guys know that I have a special place in my heart for gigantic tablets, right? Well, I have the Tab S7 FE right here. And this one has a 12.4-inch screen. Ta-da! And I've talked about it before. I'm not crazy about using it as just a normal everyday handheld tablet because it's so big, it makes it cumbersome to do certain things. But as a productivity device, as a media consumption device for gaming, especially with the controller, using the S Pen, graphic design, there's a lot of things you can do that a large screen like this makes sense. So Samsung has had a really hard time trying to stand out and differentiate themselves from Apple because, of course, the chicken came before the egg. The Apple iPad established itself before the Samsung tablet. And even if it didn't, it doesn't matter anymore because, well, they've passed them up by like 80 billion tablets. I'm just throwing that number out there, but it's probably accurate. Who knows? There's a lot of iPads in the world. The thing is, do we need a 14.6-inch tablet? I mean, let me slam on the brakes here for a minute and play Captain Reality. Professor, should we? It's one of those things, like, you remember watching Jurassic Park, when they were talking about, oh, we're so excited we have dinosaurs, and Ian Malcolm goes something to the extent of, they never thought about if they should before they, decided if we could. And they just went ahead and created dinosaurs. And then, of course, they ate people, they destroyed the park, all that good stuff. Property values went way down on that island. But anyway, 14.6-inch tablet. They're going to have three models, supposedly. The S8, the S8 Plus. So I think it's like the 11-inch is going to be the S8, which is great. You still get a smaller option for people like me who complain about this stuff. There's going to be a Plus model, which is going to be the 12.4-inch. So it seems like they're still keeping that one. And then they're going to have the big boy, or big girl, whichever you want to call it, a 14.6-inch Ultra, which is supposed to be sporting a notch, like the iPhone and like the MacBook. So I don't really know where they're headed with this. I think it's going to fit the bill for certain people there are some people that have a 12.4-inch, and believe this or not, would still like a larger tablet. So those people are going to be really happy. They probably won't be as happy when they see the price tag. I'm fairly certain this thing's going to cost over $1,000. I think we're finally going to get a tablet that's over the grand $1,000 price point in the Samsung world because they were so less than that this last generation. So I'll probably get one and make a video about it. One will probably be something to the effect of it's too big because, I don't want a tablet that big. But I'll test it out for you guys whenever it gets here one day. And it'll be interesting because the iPad is still limited to 12.9. From what I've seen, the rumored specs, this thing is super, super thin. It's like a millimeter thinner than the iPad and the Tab S7 Plus right now, which are already very, very thin. It's going to have like an 11,000 milliamp battery, so we're bumping up over 1,000 milliamps in the battery department, and it's going to have something crazy like a 95% screen-to-body ratio, at least based off the stuff that I'm seeing. Ergonomically, it's going to be crazy. Because look at how thin this one is. Imagine shaving another millimeter off of that, adding extra battery, having a bigger screen, and it's going to have the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, which is the latest and greatest from Qualcomm. So it's going to be one heck of a beast. It's going to be powerful. It's going to have the latest and greatest. Of course, it's going to have the most amazing S Pen ever, all that cool stuff. I'd like to see if they actually do anything with this notch. I mean, if they actually put a legitimate biometric in there, that would make me really happy. And this thing, hear me out here, would be one really awesome laptop replacement. See, if they could even actually make a really better version of DeX, or if they could make it where it's like a dual boot. I know they're not going to do a dual bootloader on here, but imagine this. Apple is doing all this stuff with essentially mobile silicon. So when you look at these mobile processors, they're not the same as a fully fleshed out desktop processor. They operate under a different architecture design, which is RISC, which is reduced instruction set coding, which means that it kind of breaks things down. It doesn't need to use as much power or juice to do the same thing, which is why you can get these tiny, tiny, tiny chips, and they produce so much power, and you're like, how am I getting these graphics in this video and the way this looks in this power? out of something this small when I gotta have a big processor with a huge heat sink with a big fan and liquid cooling and a gigantic graphics processor in my computer. So it's cool they're doing this stuff, but imagine, like, if you look, I've got the Samsung Galaxy Book Go, which has the Snapdragon 7C Generation 2, which is actually a mobile chipset. So we know that these computers we can use a mobile processor and get crazy power out of it. So if they can find a way to leverage this and make it more like an actual laptop, but also full, like full DeX mode, full tablet mode, maybe a little bit of extra stuff in there, that could be seriously special, and I think finally give them a serious public leg up over the iPad Pro, because a lot of people are not that impressed with the iPad Pro. I'm not either. The iPad Pro basically runs the same as like the three years ago regular iPad. There's not really much of a difference until it comes down to doing some sorts of tasks and performances in gaming and some, more intensive process stuff. But most people don't use that. So I'm just not a big fan of iPad OS. I think it's boring. I think that it's kind of, the way they use the Apple Pencil is kind of dumb. You can't even swipe up to go back to the home screen. You can't use swipe typing, glide typing on the big keyboard unless you pop up the floating keyboard. The whole handwriting thing that converts to text is miserable. The S Pen, I think, is far superior to the Apple Pencil in almost every way. So I want to see what they do here. I'm going to reserve my judgment on this gigantic 14.6-inch reported tablet we're going to get. I think it's going to make some people very happy. It's going to be out of the price range of a lot of people that wouldn't consider it anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll pick one up. I'll test it out when it gets here one day. We're looking at the end of January announcement, I think, possibly first week of February. So it looks like probably sometime early to mid-February, it will be here if all the stars align and everything goes the way it's supposed to. So we'll keep an eye on this space. Definitely interested in it as a tech enthusiast, as a tablet nerd guy. I like the idea, kind of. I wouldn't use one personally. I hardly use my iPad Pro now. I'll be like laying in bed and I'm like, sucker's gigantic, trying to use it for anything. So I'm just not a giant tablet fan. I know you guys are out there. It's just not for me. I think tablets, for normal tablet use, I like the iPad mini, I like the Tab S7, I like the idea of this Tab S8. I love the Tab S6. I thought it was a great tablet. Moving forward, it's going to be interesting having 3 tablets in this same space, an 11-inch, a 12.4, and then a 14.6, but I think it could really be something special as a real laptop replacement, and then carrying it around in your lap as like a desktop monitor, because that's basically what it is at this point. Anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.